This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome back to Off the Break Podcast. I'm Cody, and with me are Kyle and Ken.
Hello.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
It's going fine.
Yeah? You've added masks to your daily ensembles?
Yep. Came along with the gloves. Finally decided to put the mask on.
Yeah,
I'm
nice.
just so glad to see another adult human face to face.
I thought your beard was your mask.
It hasn't grown to that full
Oh.
length yet for
He's
it
been
to really
trimming.
cover.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about this week, surprisingly, even though there are still no movies playing in theaters. There's just a lot happening in our industry, which we're on the top of right now.
A lot of question marks.
Yeah. A lot of weird technology trying to come in and change things up under the disguise of helping, but we'll get into that. And guys, everybody listening, I finally watched Singing in the Rain.
You did what?
I know. I watched it last night.
Only because somebody reminded her at like 9 o'clock last night. Hey, by the way, you got to knock this thing out.
And I did it. So I will be getting to my review of that later in the episode.
And your
podcast.
past due punishment of
I don't want to.
live on the podcast. Cody is going to be watching the first 3 minutes of the critically acclaimed top 5 AFI movie of all time, Goodfellas. I'm very
I'm
excited.
going to narrate it.
Basically
What
just
am I seeing?
reacting like live.
Narrating,
Nice.
reacting.
Yep.
Kyle and I were discussing before the podcast whether or not Cody was going to be intrigued to watch the next 2.5 hours of this film.
Probably
She's
not.
like, oh my gosh, what happens next? What stone have they left unturned for me?
Well, let's get into the news. As exciting as that's going to be.
I only want to talk about that.
Well, sorry, Ken. You have to talk about the rest of this stuff with us.
Can you tell we've been like sequestered in a house too long together, and the only time we got out, we came to the office together.
And I have to be along for the ride with this. It'll be quite interesting.
We updated our setup so that Kyle has the recommended 6 feet of personal bubble space around him.
They were very kind to do so.
Yeah.
We're bringing in Kyle's significant other next week to see.
Yeah, that would be a fun episode.
Silver Screen
that would be
Insider,
a
couples
strange-
therapy.
Couples,
A strange but interesting dynamic.
that would be really fun.
Yeah.
I want to ask her so many questions. What's Kyle like outside the office?
So you're dating
deep
him.
dive.
Why?
What do you think?
Seeing him.
What do you think he's like inside the office?
Yeah.
Just a wild man.
I don't know. Maybe he's so different. Maybe he's like Goldberg's, where he just goes home, drop trousers, and then he's like there on the couch.
I mean, with this quarantine happening, that's about right. So
Is there anybody not doing that?
there's
don't
probably
know.
weird people in quarantine that still wear jeans.
Yeah.
You know.
I wore jeans today.
Well,
Yeah,
but
you're-
you like were out and about within like safety parameters and all.
I was.
But
Yeah. I was like, I'm
in
going to
the
the
home,
office.
Though, you know, there's someone
I
in
should-
home that is still comfortable in jeans.
Yep. I was
And
like,
it's
I'm going to the
weird.
office. I should put on big girl pants.
Somebody that's putting on a collared shirt when they get out of bed in the morning.
Our 4-year-old son decided to put on a collared shirt today. Usually he wears one to school. I think he felt like he needed it today.
Yeah, just for
He
some
looks
familiarity.
so handsome. Just to be at home.
Well, hey, if you can look good outside the home.
Yeah. He's a good little dresser. Okay.
Nice.
So, COVID-19, what we know so far. How has the virus affected the release schedule this week?
Well, it's thinned out even more.
Yep. So, latest moves include SpongeBob movie moving to August 7th. So, not a huge move and not taken completely off the release schedule. So, that's
just
good.
a week back.
Infinite moved to May 28th. And
Yeah.
so that's pretty good. That's
May 28th, 21.
2021. Oh,
You
we should bold that. I'm very optimistic.
You printed this.
I know. So
I
optimistic.
sent it to you like 2 days in advance.
Please comment on our Facebook page. Who is the Cody in your life that can read something, that can write and read something out loud, and then not comprehend it at all?
No, I think it's a mental block. Like, I really don't want to see the year 2021 at all. I just want these movies to stay in 2020.
I would gladly skip this year to go into 2021.
Okay. Soul moved to November 20th, which we kind of knew.
2020.
2020. Yeah, this
sure?
year. This Thanksgiving.
Optimistic.
Raya and the Dragon moved to March of 2021 because it was on the Thanksgiving weekend, so that makes sense.
We haven't had
anything on that other than title art, have we?
No, they haven't done anything. But Disney is pretty notorious to not get too much stuff, publicity stills, one sheets, that sort of thing until much closer to the release date. It was early.
I like to hope that they used all of their dragon energy, taking it out of Mulan, and they put 2 movies worth of dragons into this one movie.
And then we found out, I think today, that Bad Trip is going to video on demand. It was supposed to come out this week, right?
For the national release date theatrically was today.
Yeah.
But they moved it not only to VOD but VOD rental, so you can get the movie for $6 today.
Oh, that's cheap VOD. Not even.
No,
not
it wasn't. It
premium.
wasn't going to be a big opener. I mean, 5 to 6 million would have been a big opening weekend for it.
Yeah.
But even going to $6 VOD is very surprising.
And Roadside Attraction had a movie coming out today called The Secret with Katie Holmes, and I believe that did get pulled.
Did that get pulled as well? I figured that
there was no news about it, but I'm pretty sure it got pulled.
That's going to be a good, bigger film for Roadside, and so it's probably good that they pulled it. That's going to fill that faith and family audience really well.
We love all the people at Roadside, but bigger and Roadside do not belong in the same sentence.
No, that is true. That is true. They need some help.
With love.
So yeah, anything else that changes in the release schedule right now?
No, that was about all I saw.
I have 3/13, no new movies till 5/29 with A24, maybe The Green Knight. We just don't know what A24 yet is doing with that.
A24 doesn't know what A24 is doing with that yet.
I wonder if, since they have a deal with Apple TV Plus or whatever that service is called, I wonder if The Green Knight will be put on there.
That's probably why they haven't taken it off yet. Similar to what the other film companies have done when they went VOD. They didn't want to say they were going VOD this early, so they'll get to it. Mm-hmm. And then there's Fatal and King of Staten Island from Universal. So right now, realistically, the next big film that may jumpstart the box office again is Tenet on 7/17. So July 17th, we're looking at Tenet. Yeah. Christopher Nolan to the rescue.
Yeah, definitely.
Ken's crystal ball from last week is looking pretty good. Yeah. This could be the biggest Christopher Nolan movie we've ever seen. People are hungry for some entertainment.
And with Christopher Nolan on top of that, oh yeah.
John David Washington takes the torch from his father and runs with it.
And then Mulan. So
yeah, that dragon power, right?
Lack of dragon power.
Lack of dragon power. So yeah, that's your update for the release schedule. You know, we'll try to stay on top of it as best I can, and I still recommend everybody go and download a scoreboard every other day to see, you know, where stuff has been placed, because that gets updated as soon as we know it automatically.
Available only at
silverscreeninsider.com for
the low price of
$25 a month.
Yep.
We have a routine. We planned this out.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun.
So I kind of alluded to earlier in the podcast that, you know, as theaters have closed, traditional movie going has ceased to exist. There has been this technology trying to come in and alter the industry, trying to fill that void. And it's taken on different forms: virtual cinema, premium video on demand. Lionsgate is getting into the foray, which I think, you know, I'm not always very positive about Lionsgate and some of their practices, but I kind of like this idea. They're going to hold free streaming movies on YouTube every Friday. They're going to be hosted by Jamie Lee Curtis. They're set series. They kind of have a theme with each one.
Jamie Lee Curtis. So we're going to get to see Knives Out for free on YouTube?
Not Knives Out. We're going to see.
But she was in that, and it was a Lionsgate movie, and that's.
And she probably has to do some promotion. still for some of those. So here we go.
She skipped out on the tour.
Yeah. So they're going to team with Fandango, YouTube, and NATO. And basically, they're going to offer these for free. So you can go to the YouTube page and watch this series. And then they're going to be requesting throughout the series donations. And any donation that you give will go to the Will Rogers Motion Picture Pioneers Foundation. And through this foundation, it's how NATO is providing financial assistance to theater employees that have been furloughed or have lost their jobs because of the virus. So and Will Rogers is a great organization. They do a lot of charitable work. So it's a good one to go through.
That sounds like a great idea. Which Jamie Lee Curtis movies are they going to be showing during
Let's
this?
see. Is she in any of these?
I don't believe so.
I don't. Let's see. One of the things was Hunger Games trilogy, Dirty Dancing, La La Land, John Wick. I think they had different themes. One was the Hunger Games kind of theme, which they had a lot of those movies. And then another one was Acclaim, and I think they had like La La Land and a few of their other Academy Award winning movies. And then I think they had a action one maybe when they had John Wick.
They only have
in
John
that
Wick
one.
for action, so it must be all the John Wick movies maybe. Those were the only 4 that I kept seeing that they were mentioning.
Yeah. So
There's not a better tie-in than Jamie Lee Curtis.
I don't know why you keep bringing her up. I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
She
She
is
could
great
just talk
in
to me about anything.
She couldn't talk to you about anything.
I would listen to her.
She
She's
seems very
excellent.
worldly.
You loved her yogurt commercials?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very regular now.
Jamie Lee Curtis is relatable.
No, she was.
And a badass.
Was it? I don't know if it.
She is, but she's not in any, like, why wouldn't you pick somebody from the movie to introduce the movie?
So
But you gotta admit though, like hearing Jamie Lee Curtis as the host, you had to have been like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
yeah.
This is a real thing.
Because that was me. I was like, it's weird that Knives Out isn't on here, but Jamie Lee Curtis hosting is pretty cool.
Yeah. No, she was at CinemaCon, not last year, but I think the year before when they were doing Halloween, the reboot. And she came on stage and talked, and I've said it before, there is a difference between true movie stars and people that have been in the industry and feel really comfortable and come out on stage and just really command the stage. And just, I don't want to say newbies, but there's just people that are empty vessels.
Yeah.
And with very little personality, and she definitely came in and just worked the room, and it was really fun to watch her on stage. So
Yeah.
she gets an A+ in my book.
No, same here. Like as weird as it is as not Knives Out as one of these movies, which I'm sure will eventually happen, but it's a good idea to get someone like Curtis to like really get people excited for this.
I think they're making enough money on the VODs and the rentals of Knives Out. They don't want to give it away for free. That's probably why.
Yeah, that's probably true. They just put it out on VOD.
Yep. Speaking of that, there's been a couple new developments. So that one we like. That's a good charitable one. That
agreed.
makes sense. It's free. You're not, you're purely giving donations, which is nice. And you get a little bit of extra viewing these things, viewing these films.
Night.
Yeah. It's like a movie night marathon type of
From
thing.
a studio that actually wants to give like technically a free movie night, but it's for a good cause.
Yeah. So I like that one. Another thing that made the news was that I don't know if our listeners remember Screening Room. It popped up a couple years ago as the founder of Napster was trying to get into the movie screening business. And the whole idea is that you would have this box in your home and you could download movies as they came out in theaters. So the night it opened nationally, you'd be able to, for a premium price of, I think it was between $50 and $75, depending upon the film, you could watch it in your home. So home theater. But it was all very secure because they had this box and all that. And there was obvious huge backlash then. And they were kind of ridiculed, rightly so, and kind of sent packing at the moment. Well, they're making a resurgence now. And I think a former Sony executive is now the new CEO, and they're, pushing their in-home theatrical viewing now, their premium VOD, which I think they're going to get a lot more traction this go around because people are doing premium VOD under exceptional circumstances. And so we still really don't know how this is going to play out down the road when theaters across the country are back open, how many customers want to watch a premium VOD movie rather than going to the theater. That's yet to be determined, but this gives it more credence, and they made the announcement at a time again when theaters are down. So we'll have to watch out for Screening Room, although it's not called that anymore. I think it's they are rebranding it to something else, but I can't remember. I don't have it written down right in front of me what
We
it
don't have
is.
those notes on
Screenster.
A Screenster. They should have just called it that. That's better than Screening Room.
That's why I make the big bucks.
You are. I think it's like SR something, SR plus or something like that.
Everyone is going for the plus game
Yeah.
now. That's just weird though. Like even though at this weird time, like it makes sense to want to jump on board, but
Great.
I don't think people still want to pay a premium price, which is probably like a steep price for a movie, you know, even at their homes.
My worry now is that back when they first brought up Screening Room, it was a pretty substantial price. It was almost cost prohibitive for most people. And so that was the kind of the only real thing it was going for. It wasn't as threatening because it was cost prohibitive. Now Universal has gone out with a $20 premium VOD number, and we'll get into supposedly how well their weekend went with that here in a little bit. But if the benchmark is set at the $20 mark, I feel like that's way more threatening to theaters, because for $20, that's like a whole family going to the theater. And
Yeah, that's true.
And so that
In some markets, that's one person going to a theater.
Yeah.
In some markets that's one person, other markets that's the whole family. And I just think that cost comparative of at that entry point makes it more desirable maybe for the consumer than it would at the $50 mark. Because I think people now are starting to get trained to that cost number. They're getting comfortable with a $20 mark.
Yeah.
And we don't want them comfortable with that in home. We want to make them feel like they get more experience at that mark. So we'll just have to see. It's not so much if they can afford it, it's what they're comfortable paying and how they justify it that moving forward. It's hard to justify $50 or more for a 48-hour rental. It's a lot easier when it's like $20. So
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that would make sense then. Okay.
Yeah, speaking of Universal's garbage policies and pricing,
yeah.
Trolls did well for its opening weekend.
We don't have firm numbers.
Expectations are between 30 and possibly up to 50 million that we've seen so far.
He basically said that it was 10 times higher than Jurassic World, and Jurassic World did.
And this is Trolls' VOD
Right.
release for that first
for the
weekend.
for the first
correct?
weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jurassic World they think did between $2 million and $3 million when it came out VOD.
Mm-hmm.
And they had 10 times higher. You can extrapolate that it might be $20 million to $30 million. Now, the thing with this is it makes for amazing headlines. You're like, whoa, oh no, it did so well. Oh my gosh, it was smooth move on Universal's part.
Goodbye theaters.
Yeah, but one of the biggest openings on premium VOD of all time was Avengers, and it did 30 million. But I think what we failed to realize at that point was that it had a huge theatrical run and made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So $30 million was like a nice little bump, like, oh,
Yeah.
little shot in the arm. And same with Jurassic World. Jurassic World was a $1 billion movie and worldwide, and then it went to VOD, and then it made $2 to $3 million, which was a nice little shot in the arm for the company. And it's good because they keep more percent. While they may get like 60% of the box office, they get, I think, 80% or so of the VOD rentals. So, or more. So it is a little shot. But if you think that the film may cost $100 million, maybe a little bit more with marketing, and then you've only made 30 your opening weekend, I don't know. And in a
That's not
48-hour
success.
rental. And I don't know
Yeah.
how many people will go back and rent it multiple times once you've spent the 20 and you only had it and watched it 5 times in your 48 hours. I don't know if there's much incentive to go keep renting it at that point. Then I think it was it could be a good experiment. It did show that under these extraordinary circumstances where everybody's stuck at home and there are literally no other life distractions around, jobs or school or anything, yeah, people tuned in.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we can really take away that this was some kind of major industry changing, success at that point.
And I think,
from it.
and I think other studios seem to realize that as well. Like, I'm not seeing further headlines being like, "Oh, now Tenet's going to be on VOD doing the
Right.
same as Trolls." Like,
No,
I mean, they think like those numbers are good, but theater numbers are even better.
I think that their whole financial model at the studio still require theatrical exhibition.
Yeah.
They still get a big chunk. And as studies have shown, and we'll talk about another study that just came out that showed that the longer the theatrical window and the longer a movie plays in theaters, the better it streams down the road and the more revenue can be generated from that. So the ecosystem, I think, will be slightly different moving forward. I've always said that streaming will not fundamentally alter our industry, but will change the quality of product you see and the amount of product you see in the theater. And I think this Trolls VOD just shows that there are certain films that just don't really work theatrically or don't quite make sense theatrically anymore that will go straight to VOD moving forward, or each studio's streaming service. So how this really will impact theaters down the road, I don't think you're going to get a simultaneous VOD theatrical on a lot of big ones. If they want it to be a $500 million film, they're going to need exclusivity in theaters for that to be achievable. But how many of those tentpole films are going to come along each week, I think remains to be seen. I think you may just be harder and harder to fill multiple screens moving forward. I think that's where the real change is going to be, is just finding enough good films each week to fill 15 to 20 screens at some of these huge multiplexes. I think if you're a smaller exhibitor, maybe under 10 screens, you're probably better positioned for the product moving forward.
Yeah, depending on how the setup works, it may be possible that if you have social distancing guidelines in place that you need 12 screens to open a big movie.
Yeah.
You may need 10 screens to open Tenet on.
Right.
Like, that's entirely possible. If you cut 2/3 of your seats out, you may have to blow out with a tempo with Wonder Woman. You may be a 20-plex that has 14 screens of Wonder Woman, which is crazy to think.
Right. But it might be, we don't know how the social distancing policies are going to affect theaters when they reopen. If they limit, say, group sizes to 50 patrons and you have to have every other seat available for the 6-foot radius, I mean, you may need multiple screens just to show the few films that are trickling in. And so it might balance itself out down the road.
Yeah. Your per capitas look better, too, if you have all of your seats closed.
I guess.
We sold 85% of our seats this week. I mean, there were 4 people in, but we killed it.
Yeah. So I wonder if this will change the trend that we had been seeing of, smaller auditoriums. I don't think so. I think the big recliners gave people more space. It almost gave that 6-foot radius. I think, the smaller auditorium people that were starting to convert to that are probably going to be okay. And you're probably not going to have the 100% occupancy or close to it that you had before. But hopefully that changes as we get to Christmas and like Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holiday corridor. Hopefully social distancing won't be as big of an issue by then. But who knows? You hear so many conflicting things about what this virus is going to do and if it makes a resurgence.
No, but have your location prepared. This means offering hand sanitizer, gloves, and masks for anybody that comes in. Make them feel comfortable. Give them the option.
employees gloves and masks. Maybe even think about, investing in cloth masks for employees that you can sanitize that have your theater branding on it. It's like uniform moving forward.
That's a weird thought to think of, but you're right though. Like that might be a reality that we have to do once we reopen, for a tentative while.
Those sort of health things with the uniform, those things will get a theater open down the road. Maybe that's how you get open, is you put those practices into the concessions.
It certainly can make people more comfortable, which is what they'll be looking for anyway for like theater seating.
Right. And I mean, nobody is uncomfortable with somebody handling your food having a mask. I mean, I never feel weird about that, so I don't.
Maybe before, but not now.
Right.
Maybe before you're like, why is this guy wearing a mask? How spicy are these chicken wings?
Maybe you can get
As for medium.
Maybe you can even like get fun masks. Maybe it doesn't have to be like cloth, like surgical looking masks. Maybe you can have fun like ski mask type, stuff with branding on it, with fun pictures on the front. I've seen a woman going around in a Buzz Lightyear helmet, and I'm like, that would be
That's pretty great.
Hilarious to see.
Well, doesn't Tenet have like John David Washington wearing like a mask of some kind,
he's got
like
the Bane
Warner
kind of
Bros?
mask.
Yeah, like Warner Bros. Give that to theater employees,
Right.
and like sell them to people
Oh my
as
gosh,
well. You'll
the
make
marketing
buckets
on
of
this.
them.
Everybody in your theater just wearing the mask from Scream. Like make everybody super uncomfortable.
That would make me uncomfortable.
And 1 out of every 10 people just gets
Saw-
grabbed
Ooh.
randomly from behind. Just,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the skin mask.
yeah, ew, is right.
There's plenty of notable movie masks to be wearing.
Horror fanatics would go crazy if that was their screening. That would be awesome.
No, I mean, we just might have to look at...
Skin mask. Thanks for going extreme, Cody.
Sorry.
A mask made of human skin?
No, you know what I mean. That mask, though, where he... But obviously it would be fake. It would be plastic. Yeah.
They were all tested.
They were washed ahead of time.
God.
My favorite mask I've been donning recently is a Stormtrooper fabric mask. I love it.
That one's pretty great.
Yeah. Just FYI. Okay. So, so I don't know what the big chains are going to do. It'll be interesting. We have heard some rumblings at Cinemark, maybe the first major movie theater chain to open, probably at beginning of July. So
yeah, looking at July 1st, furloughed another 17,000 people and half their corporate staff. So yeah, July 1st.
July 1st.
Everything's moving
Just
forward.
bring everybody back July 1st. But I don't
Have a
know.
nice
At
summer,
least,
guys.
Yeah. At least it's like a hopeful date on the horizon. And realistically, with no major releases till the middle to end of July, I can't see the major chains opening any sooner than that, because what are they going to play? And it's the big question for anybody that's looking to open in May or June. What product are you going to have that people haven't watched 1 billion times at home already? So
yeah, I think Cinemark is, at least before Tenet comes out, they're just going to be planning on having like legacy films, like I don't know, probably old movie classics or whatever. But even still, that's good for like a short window, but not for like the month of May, the month of June.
Right.
Like that's not suitable.
It's probably not going to work long-term planning, but it gets you back. It gets the staff back, and it gets everybody kind of on the same page moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're seeing that AMC is looking for some investment capital.
Yeah, just a small pittance. $500 million, I think, is like what they were trying to raise.
Pocket change.
Whoa. I just can't imagine that they can't get that money from China. I mean, I think that's probably where that's going to come from. I can't imagine anybody swooping in to save them now.
No, there's going to be some 100% bat-free soup that's going to be for sale, and that's going to be what's going to raise the funds for them.
Well, we'll see how that changes, because can AMC get open if they don't have capital, like if they don't have liquidity to?
Not all of them.
Yeah, just their few locations. So it might be an opportunity if you're in a competitive zone with an AMC. Just keep an eye on that and see what happens. You may have an opportunity to at least be open a little sooner than them and have some exclusive
There's
time.
no corporate structure, so it's time to get excited, pay attention, do what you have to do to get open, because you have the ability to be not only the only show in town, but when the AMC opens, you were the first show in town.
Right. Yeah. No, there's going to be a short window there where it makes sense to maybe be open a little earlier, playing, like we said, legacy films, kids' movies,
Free
maybe
shows.
even independent art stuff that's already on VOD that people maybe wouldn't have found otherwise on the glut of films available on VOD and streaming right now. So I think there's going to be a combination of those three types of movies that'll get people open and get them back there. I think you need to take the time to market, have definitely a firm date when you think you're going to be able to be open, and when that firms up more, just pound the marketing, let people know, get them excited, get them back in there.
And have real discussions with county health officials.
Yeah, that's
what they're there for.
Right.
So get out there, whether it's by email or phone, start contacting them. If you haven't already, do it now. Start bridging that gap. Like, I have a movie theater. I have an independent small business.
What are you going to need from me so I can get open? What are the restrictions going to be?
I have masks. I have policies in place. I have hand sanitizer. I'm willing to close X amount of seats.
Yeah. These will be my hours of operation. Maybe I'm not open all the time. So, but I think it behooves anybody to go to their local county health, city health, where, and start on the local level. Because I think just because your state may open or roll back restrictions doesn't mean that whatever the virus is doing locally in your county, that you're going to be able to do it, or that you're not going to also have additional restrictions, and you don't want to get caught off guard by those when you're, invested so much to try to reopen. So, as we talked about streaming and what's on streaming channels and VOD and all that, everybody's super worried that this is a game changer for our industry, that movie going as we know it will never be the same. But there was a recent study come out from Ernst & Young that said shorter theatrical windows reduce home video revenue. And, it's just what we've talked about a lot, and when we've speculated about how streaming is going to affect theatrical exhibition, is that you've got so many options when you go to Netflix or you go to Prime, and it's just really hard to make a cognitive decision and take that risk that you think that the value in that film is there. And when I click on it, if you don't, in the back of your mind, be like, well, they put it in theaters, so it must be good. I don't see how streaming sites can overcome that simple logic. Like, if I saw it in the theater, if I saw it on a billboard, there's a certain level of quality there, and I'm going to take more chances on that. So I think that's a saving grace for theaters. I think it shows that they're important and to the overall industry and ecosystem of media viewing. And I think the more and more studies come out, we'll just keep proving that.
Yeah, especially these kind of this kind of research that's being commissioned by NATO. Like, it's just been saying what we've been saying even before these, ideas have been coming out, is that, the movies in theaters, people are still interested in those because they think those are the highest of quality. Whereas when you go to Netflix or Prime, like you were saying, like, it's just oodles upon oodles of like all these different sorts of movies that you don't quite know of, but you just have heard of these other ones that were originally in theaters. So why not check those out that you've heard of instead of going out on a whim and maybe just seeing a bad movie? Yeah.
Even though you are stuck at home and it didn't cost you anything, I think people still don't want to waste their time.
Yeah.
And even though they have a lot of time right now to waste, they still want to.
It's still important.
Yeah, it's still important. They still don't want to waste their time. They want to know that there's going to be a certain level. We're all looking for cheating ways to make decisions in quick moments. And when you're thumbing through a screen, if you can recognize anything marketing wise that it had played in theaters, you're just more likely to click on it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. No, Netflix doesn't do television ads. Hulu does ads on Hulu.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't cost anything.
Yep.
You'll see them randomly, sporadically on broadcast television, but they advertise on their own platforms. So unless you're there, you're not seeing it. But if you're going to watch the Super Bowl, if you're going to watch a live event, these films are promoted.
Yep. and you may not neatly fall in one of their targeting algorithms. So the way that movies are marketed theatrically, it's still blanket marketing. They still have big swaths of the country getting marketed to at the same time. It's not so targeted, and I think that still helps people in the back of their mind. They will have seen an image of this more likely than they would have if they had just been on the Netflix app and only seen the Netflix stuff.
More likely to see it when it's more widespread.
Yeah, because when you're on the app, the algorithms change what you're seeing, and so you kind of get pushed down into a tunnel of an echo chamber of the same content.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Cody's looking
tired,
for anything
Cody?
else.
Let's see. We talked about COVID. We talked about Lionsgate, Trolls, Cinemark reopening, screening room.
Dun 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 dun.
Man,
We've
at
gone
the
through
end.
it all, Cody. There's nothing else to talk about.
No. Okay.
It's Goodfellas punishment time.
No, let's talk about Singing in the Rain.
Well,
Actually,
fair,
okay.
all right, fair enough.
We'll start with your review
Okay.
of Singing in the Rain. No spoilers. Just kidding. Then we're gonna look at the AFI,
So many people
the
have seen
AFI
it.
top 100 list.
Okay.
Now you get to pick a film from 6 through 10 that you haven't seen yet.
Oh.
And
Oh man.
then we will end the episode with the Goodfellas live reaction from Cody.
You've just been waiting for this.
I have been waiting so long for this. I'm so glad I came up with this idea. Patting myself on the back.
It's ways to torture your wife. Just needle her.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a little part of that.
Traitor.
So please take a look at that AFI list. We'll post it on our Facebook page so you guys can take a look and see what the best option for her is. Also, I want to thank Carly Scott, Mike and Nikki Schwartz, and Trevor Shiner for liking our last podcast post.
Yeah.
Keep liking, keep commenting. We want to see comments for movies that Cody needs to see to expand her worldview.
Oh no.
Boy
All
in the
right.
striped pajamas, here we come.
Oh. Okay, Singing in the Rain. Yeah, I thought I had seen this back in high school, but I didn't remember any of it except for
Really?
the iconic Singing in the Rain, like where he's actually.
It's on the poster. You don't remember anything.
I remembered that sequence. I don't remember anything else. Okay, so moving on.
At least you remembered a sequence.
It was
That
longer
snippet they
than
show on Time Life
Stop it.
videos.
It's a sequence.
it was longer than I thought it should have been. I'm not into musicals as much, so some of the dancing numbers went a little long for me. I don't usually like older films either. It's just a acting aesthetic. I think they speak better. I think that they have a lot better vocabulary in their dialogue. It just
Different times.
yeah, I enjoyed that, but I also think it's like kind of fake acting. There's definitely a facade, not too much emotional range, and that just is kind of like sweet candy, like hee hee, we're all happy and we're not really upset. But I don't know. It was just I just don't like old movies. So
Well, good thing we're making you watch old
I know,
movies then.
I know. I mean, they're not terrible. I did enjoy. I very much enjoyed parts of it, and it was cute, and I loved the girl, that Lena Lamont, that with her high pitched squeaky
She's
East Coast
fantastic.
voice. She was, I think, my favorite part in it.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
And Gene Kelly is very handsome, and
Naturally.
yeah, I could see that chiseled chin. I was like, I can see why he was always like a leading actor back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was cute. It was really funny. It starts out with a premiere at a silent film premiere, but the premieres are like the exact same as they are today. They come up in their fancy cars, they're wearing their fancy clothes,
Mm-hmm.
people are screaming, pictures, some commentators commenting on the red carpet, and it's just like, oh, things have not changed in 80 years.
The more things change, the more they stay exactly the same.
Exactly the same. And I know that they were spoofing that part of the industry a little bit,
Yeah.
making fun of itself, and it's like, oh, That still happens today, just like that.
And that's why it holds up so well.
That part actually really did
Yeah.
hold up really well. I thought it was kind of interesting to see some of the differences in the time, like when they were in their kitchen doing the good morning sequence. They had a fridge, but it was just an ice box.
Right.
And they sat at a table and they were having late dinner, and it was just sandwiches with milk. I'm like, ew. But
again, different time.
yeah. Yeah. So
I'm just at least happy that you finally got around to
I just wish it wasn't so long. Like, I have to admit,
it's not a long movie.
It is. It should be
80
like
minutes.
It's not 80 minutes. It's like 2 hours. And
it was an hour and 42 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
You complain.
It felt like
About the
2.5
strangest-
hours.
It flew by
2.5
when I saw
hours.
it. That's for sure.
I had to fast forward through some of the dance sequences because they went on so long.
Those are like the best parts.
Oh,
Did you fast forward through Make Him Laugh?
No, that part I did
That's
like.
a great.
The Make Him
that's a
Laugh
great
one I did like.
Okay, good.
Good Morning I had to fast forward through the huge sequence near the end when he's telling the head of the studio about the modern one where it's like, I don't know.
The point of it is across, but it does drag. I'll give you that
Oh
one.
my gosh.
I'll give you that
It just
one.
goes on, and I was just like, fast forward.
I was really nervous you just fast forward through Make Him Laugh because that's my favorite. That's my
Oh,
favorite
that one's really
one.
cute.
Yeah,
That's cute that's
it's
your
great.
favorite. I don't know what my favorite would be. That guy that did the Make Him Laugh, though, he was very slapstick, really athletic, a lot of energy with him. So he was fun to watch.
It's just funny because like obviously like he was smoking 2 packs a day or whatever, and like he had to do that sequence like twice. Like it was just all done by himself, like just all.
And it looks
on,
like
it's
almost
just crazy.
all in
It's just
one
a crazy
take.
sequence.
It almost looks like all in one take because it never leaves him, and he goes through, and it's been choreographed.
I don't believe
all
he
the way.
stops. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't believe he stops until he actually stops.
That part I'm always, and the dance scene is just
It's impressive.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the costumes are really beautiful
Yeah, there you go.
on all the girls. And so those are the things about old movies I do enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't emotionally connect with them.
Sure.
And I don't find them always super entertaining.
Yeah. Which I think speaks to quite a few people as well.
I think that's why I drug my feet wanting to watch this one. I was just like, ugh.
Well, you are going to tap dance your way into number 6 through 10.
I am not going to drag my feet
I'm really
anymore
excited.
after this.
Have you seen Gone with the Wind?
No.
Oh, well, that clocks in right about 4 hours. Have you seen Lawrence of Arabia?
Oh, no.
It's like
That's-
12 hours.
That's also 4 hours. Schindler's List.
Oh,
Feel good.
this is horrible. Ugh,
That's a little over 3 hours.
I don't want to cry.
Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo.
I asked you which one that was.
That's a little over 2 hours.
Ugh.
And then The Wizard of Oz, which would be great to rewatch, but you've already seen it, so you can't see it.
Oh, man. I have seen that one.
That's
a
gonna,
bunch.
this is a rough stretch right
This
here.
Is that all my options?
Those are your options. That's 6 through 10.
Man.
Now, if Kyle's willing to go all the way to 15,
Okay.
there's City Lights
I don't know what that is.
from 1931, so you'll enjoy it. The Searchers from 1956. Star Wars 1977. Oh, you've already seen it.
Man.
Psycho
Bummer.
from 1960, the Hitchcock classic. Or number 15, 2001, A Space Odyssey, a Stanley Kubrick groundbreaking film.
Man, if you thought
God.
Singing in the Rain was long, I'm pretty sure
no
2001
good-
will not be enjoyable for you.
Good options.
You thought that drug around with all the dancing and singing.
You know, when they kept going from one scene to the next really fast.
Wait until they have someone
Ew.
spinning in black and white for 15 minutes.
Let's go Hitchcock Vertigo.
Okay.
Ooh. Bold choice.
Okay. And I'll be sure to watch that one too, because I've been wanting to dabble in more Hitchcock movies anyway.
Okay.
So
Let's go with that one.
I'll watch that too.
Okay. And any other films that you think Cody needs to watch to help expand her worldview, please comment
just feels
on our
so much
Facebook page.
like torture.
It's hilarious. This may be the best thing we do all year.
I mean, and it's been a pretty bad year.
It's been
so
a pretty rough year. So
this brings enjoyment to us once a week.
I will be better about watching them so that you guys get your enjoyment.
So Cody's going to
Okay.
be putting in headphones. You won't hear the recording
Is it
for the
right or-
movie.
Is it right or left?
for copyright purposes, probably.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And Cody's
going to
be commentating.
Is it playing? Play.
Oh,
I only
boy.
have to watch 3 minutes, right?
You'll have to watch till it says Goodfellas on the screen.
You'll know.
You'll know when that particular scene is over. So tell us what's happening.
Okay. A Martin Scorsese picture. The
Right.
title credits.
First one
Robert
she's ever
De Niro.
seen.
Ray Liotta.
Robert
Joe
De Niro
Pesci.
got over Ray Liotta on the... I guess he was more famous,
Yeah,
but
he was more
Lorraine
famous.
he's not a
Bracco.
main character. I mean, he's
Bracco.
not the main character.
But
Paul
he's
Sorvino.
the guy at the
Yeah,
time.
I guess.
More than Ray. I think
This
Ray
film is based on a true story.
Ray Liotta was not just starting
Okay.
out, but
It's a car. It's dark. You just see the tail lights.
Can
It's
you hear
old.
it?
Yeah.
It's old.
turns out it's a
old.
silent movie.
New York,
She's not
1970.
hearing anything.
old.
Oh, that's a really young Ray Liotta.
Robert De
He
Niro.
always looks like he has eyeliner on.
True.
Robert De Niro looks the same age as he did in The Irishman.
Yeah.
Now
Without
they
the
think they hear
CGI.
something. They're like, "What the f is that?" Oh, Joe Pesci's in the back. You gotta pull over. It's dark. They've pulled over in a wooded area. Oh God, is there somebody in the back of this?
You know, only way to find out.
Only one way to find out.
Why are they all looking at it funny? Okay. Oh, that's a big knife. Oh my God. Little Joe Pesci had that big knife. Oh, there's a bloody guy. Oh, and he gets stabbed. Oh my God. So many stabbings. Oh, and shot like 5 times. Really? You didn't need to shoot him that much? I think he was dead after the 10 stabbings.
She checked the time, didn't she?
I
To
did.
see how long this went.
Okay. Credits for back, Goodfellas.
Okay, she did it.
Okay. Ugh.
Great work.
You can have that back.
Now tell us, Cody, what did you think overall? Does it make you want to see Goodfellas? Are you curious to see what happened? Are you
No.
wondering why he wanted to be a gangster?
No, I think it's horrible.
From the time I was a little boy, I always knew I wanted to be a gangster.
I knew you would not contribute to society. That's all I think about.
Great
But
movie.
that
though.
knife was so big. How could he comfortably have that sheathed in
They
the
have their
backseat of a
ways.
car?
Yeah, he got it from his mom in the kitchen because he told her they hit a deer and they needed to cut off its hoof.
Oh my God.
Oh, you got to see this movie. There's not a slow or bad part in this movie. I rewatched
That is
it.
true.
Oh, this
Yeah.
was my choice for Desert Island movie. I was stuck one place forever. There's humor, there's violence, there's character development, there's intrigue. Oh,
It is a good choice.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Ken's
I
like,
just
why
can't- I
won't
just
you
can't
watch
imagine
this
somebody.
with me?
I just can't imagine somebody watch this and go, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Goodfellas too.
I mean, right from that opening scene when I first saw it, I was like, all right, I'm in.
Cody's like, get me off
It
this
just
thing.
hooks you.
I'm just glad it was dark and poorly lit and I didn't have to see too much of it.
Cody's,
The sheet was super white.
Cody's a middle schooler with motion sickness on Magic Mountain right now. Get me off this thing.
Yeah. Ugh. No, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't as like bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Wasn't as like gory or
yeah.
traumatizing.
Yeah. Like when he stabbed him, blood didn't squirt back in his face. So that was good.
Oh, well, on that very,
So what did I pick? Vertigo?
yeah.
Okay. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that means that we can wrap things up then, I guess.
Yes.
Good work, Cody.
Thanks, guys. Totally needed that.
But the fans did, and they loved it.
I feel like I was tortured a little bit.
Well, not as much the guy in, the backseat of that
No.
car in the movie, but
No, I obviously hadn't been beaten to a pulp and had stabbed 5 times, then I don't know, shot in the groin a few times to make
So
sure
it
I'm
could have
really
been-
dead.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, thanks again for listening to Off the Break podcast. We're on all podcast platforms and on our site, silverscreeninsider.com. So if you can, please check us out. Please subscribe to us. And if you're a theater owner or manager, just come to us and we'll have all sorts of information that you might need regardless of film or the industry.
Yes. Come check us out.
Find our podcasts on all platforms. Like, share, rate, and review.
Yes.
5-star reviews with a question will get answered on the podcast by Cody, Kyle, or myself.
We're always around.
Yeah. We're still kicking it.
We are.
Rona or not, we're here for you.
All right. Well, take care. Have a great weekend.